Welcome back, everybody. It's your host with the most here, Starborn Feline. We are picking up with the last episode of this part of the story for Reverse 99, Chapter 9, Part 17. Oh boy, we have a lot to unload from last episode. So, it turns out, Recoleta was more or less a ghost of the past. At first I thought maybe meant like that she was someone who was swept up from a previous storm, reborn, or recreated. But no, she was literally someone created by her own story. And maintained by her own story. Upon destroying the novel she was writing, she essentially ceased to exist, but I feel there's more to it than just that. So, ghosts of the past. Beneath the earth, those who were never granted marble or memorial call out her name.
Qué sueño más extraño. El sabor de la realidad, tan amargo y triste. Pero lleno de pensamiento dialéctico. Tal vez la gente del panóptico reflejaba mis pensamientos internos. Entonces realmente soy un personaje en la novela. La misteriosa cabaña con el techo azul fue mi hogar todo el tiempo. Entonces, los rumores que los fantasmas propagaron eran realmente eso. Rumores.
Bienvenida de nuevo a Amalfitano, querida escritora.
Gracias, querido ícono del capitalismo. Pero, ¿no desgarré esta novela en pedazos? Verás, Amalfitano es una dimensión más allá de la vida y la muerte. Este pueblo es un reflejo de tus pensamientos internos. Es incorpóreo. No puedes desgarrar algo incorpóreo en pedazos. La literatura es infinita y atemporal, como un río que fluye a través de la vida y la muerte. No me extraña que seas mi personaje favorito. Nunca dejas de iluminarme.
Desafortunadamente, la literatura es una vocación peligrosa e inútil. Nadie entiende realmente, ni siquiera recuerda tu trabajo. ¿Recuerdas el dicho? Los únicos verdaderamente muertos son aquellos que han sido olvidados. Recoleta, desaparecerás para siempre si dejas a Amalfitano otra vez. Será como si nunca hubieras existido.
Siempre he admirado tu pensamiento crítico, señor. Encaja perfectamente con tu rol.
Todo estará bien, Recoleta. Lo que sea que haya pasado, ahora has regresado. Eso es lo que importa. El dado de Babilonia rodará de nuevo. Y cada uno de nosotros obtendrá nuestros finales.
Así es. Resuelve el asesinato en el bar y pon mi alma en paz.
Libera al pueblo de la locura infligida por el antiguo espíritu.
Arregla la aleatoriedad del dado de Babilonia y aplana la frecuencia catastrófica.
¡Lánzala una vez más, Recoleta!
Entonces, el final que he estado buscando es el que el otro yo no pudo darme. El yo que se lanzó de cabeza a la lucha contra un poder invencible. El yo que finalmente dejó esta tierra. Después de todo este tiempo, finalmente he encontrado mi final. Solo un lanzamiento más y todo habrá terminado. Mi historia, mi pueblo, todo finalmente llegará a su fin. Pero el sueño sobre el panóptico también terminará, ¿verdad?
Oh, cariño. Es solo un sueño.
Ah, no me digas que estás abandonando tu búsqueda de toda la vida por un miserable sueño.
Este sueño es cruel. Nadie entiende esta gran novela ahí ni este pueblo asombroso.
Pero aquí, eres una verdadera escritora. Este es tu hogar, Recoleta.
Pero ya extraño a mis amigos en ese sueño. Existe, así como este lugar existe.
Pero nosotros también somos tus amigos, Recoleta.
Podrías desaparecer si dejas a Malfitano. ¿Estás segura de que quieres irte? Sabéis cómo soy, queridos amigos. He pasado mi vida emprendiendo aventuras tontas y no recompensadas. Así soy yo, ¿verdad? Amalfitano es, en efecto, un lugar ideal. Un lugar para vagar, para un viaje corto y para perderse un rato. Y tiene ustedes, mis amigos ficticios, a quienes quiero tanto. Pero debo regresar a mi sueño y ver a mis amigos ahí. Ellos son igual de importantes para mí. Sí, tienes razón, Recoleta. No se puede negar que eres un alma noble y apasionada. Cada uno de nosotros lo sabe.
También eres nuestra querida amiga. ¿Por qué te detendremos de hacer lo que realmente deseas?
Te deseamos lo mejor, Recoleta. Buenas noches, querida. Que tu sueño sea dulce esta vez.
Gracias a todos, mis amigos. Nunca los olvidaré.
I've read your work, Señorita Recoleta. To be frank, it lacks both depth and breadth. This town of yours is still far from reflecting the complexity of society, and the narrative lacks a discerning perspective. It still needs some work if you want it to truly resonate with our audience. Just go for it, Señorita. You're at a perfect age to explore, experience, and learn.
What's happening to me? Ah, of course. The rise and fall of sanity is my story. So, even though the novel's been destroyed, the story, and myself along with it, lives on in the minds of those who read it. Thank you for your feedback, editor. Even here in this great expanse of darkness, I can still hear your words. You have my gratitude. Thank you for reading my novel, even if you didn't understand it, and likely never will.
Honestly, I find your story totally fascinating. But I'm still struggling to understand the connections between all these nameless characters. Couldn't you make it clearer? Like a movie?
Typical. Trust a writer to try to be all obscure and mysterious.
Maria, Pancho, you guys are the best traveling pals I've ever had. Our paths may diverge in the future, but the joyful memories of our journey across grasslands, snowfields, and deserts together will remain forever.
It's been great coming along with you. You're totally one of a kind. We'll be waiting for you at my aunt's vineyard. A little sun after a hard day's work will do you good.
There is ambition in her writing. It's passionate and poetic, fractured and chaotic. But when viewed as a whole, her work feels like little more than a superficial illusion. It lacks the depth to truly touch the soul. I will refrain from offering further comments until she stops romanticizing her childish adventures.
To put it bluntly, her phraseology feels overly deliberate to the point of distortion. Her verbiage is like a collection of vague sentiment bubbles.
I see, Aleph. Then this is how you really feel about my novel?
1,000 readers will interpret a story 1,000 different ways. Some believe the text itself is dead, and it is the reader who gives it life. The truth cannot be fully conveyed through words alone. That said, I think The Rise and Fall of Sanity is a good story.
Oh, so the Eternal Paradise is a library of sorts, just like I always imagined. Or is this just another reflection of my inner thoughts? I like it here. It's nice being surrounded by literature. But it's time to go back to reality. You're right about literature, Dorside Beggar. It is a dangerous and futile calling, but I still believe in it.
Recoleta, you're back!
I'm so glad to see you're safe. And I'm so glad to see you two worried sick about me. Thanks, mis mejores amigas Soneto y Burton.
See, Aleph? I still exist.
Amalfitano is gone. It's all over. You're simply a wandering ghost now, never to return home again. You may still exist, but Amalfitano will never get its ending. You've nullified its existence, rendering all of this meaningless. I'm sorry I couldn't answer your question. I've failed once again. Amalfitano and the Panopticon were two parts of a whole. With Amalfitano gone, Komala no longer has any reason to exist.
I'm sorry, Aleph. You, who know all the mysteries of the world, who seek answers to every question, have lost yourself in the process. You can answer everyone else's questions, but never your own. Who's the person behind that mask? Is he real? Does he still exist?
Who am I?
Stay vigilant, everyone. This is just like when the idealist and the physician had their meltdown. Only this time, it seems even worse.
I think Aleph is trying to tear down the Panopticon.
Freeze! Stay where you are. All of you.
Excuse me. Just as I'm muting myself, I probably have the music off.
Take a deep breath, soldier. The smoke's cleared now. This story, this battle, will soon come to an end. A writer has departed from her domain, leaving her creation scattered behind her, like blood-soaked bandages and fragmented skulls in the trenches. What a garbled mess. How wonderful for you. You know what? You should be the leader of the literature encryption communication team. Just arm yourself with a dictionary, and even enemies with 45 Maxim machine guns won't stand a chance against you. Because the poetry you recite will surely blow their minds before their bullets pierce yours. Well, it's all thanks to a certain writer, the embodiment of the wandering poet and traveler from Santiago to Buenos Aires. She impressed me with her precious experience as a cafe dishwasher and campground caretaker. What really rekindled my sense of humor was her seriousness about her literary pursuits. You'd understand what I mean if you'd ever heard a cheesy joke at a comrade's graveside. Drawing strength from her wanderings and rebellious exploits, she attempted to change society, wielding the sword of literature as a revolutionary intellectual and a leader of thought. Some would hail her as a battle angel of Latin America, with words as piercing as bullets and poems as powerful as tactical bombers. You stand firm in your beliefs, huh? Well, maybe that's a good thing. A commander has to trust their soldiers, or they'll be forced to surrender before long. Here, come closer. Let me tell you a secret. Many, if not all, people foolishly think it's the executioner who drops the guillotine blade, the powder that fires the bullet. While they're half right, they're substantially inaccurate. Craters on the battlefield aren't the result of bombs, but a clashing of ideologies. A trigger pulled long before the powder ever ignited in the barrel. As for literature, well, it's probably best not to buy too much into the Latin American boom. Forget about the status report from earlier. That said, at least there's one thing that's certain. Books can bite back, and they'll leave scars.
Okay, sorry about that. So, I just wanted to go over a few things real quick. So, yeah, in general, I do believe the words have power. There's a reason we're studying some of these old stories, even if most people nowadays don't really care for them anymore. These old stories like Lord of the Flies, a lot of Shakespeare's big works, they impacted society and shaped how people thought and reviewed certain stories for quite a while, and still to a degree today. But the other thing I want to mention is I'm not sure how I feel about this sort of like vague out death with Recoleta. I kind of see what they were kind of going for, but I don't think it quite hit the mark. I think it was just a little bit off. But it does bring up a few interesting ideas. So this blurs the line a bit between some of the classifications on in this world. So for those who don't know, there are several classifications when it comes to Arcanists. You have the human-born, those who are just regular humans, but woke to arcane powers or had arcane power in their bloodline for the longest time. The awakened, such as Miss Lucy, who are objects that, for what reason, either absorbed or just were granted arcane powers. And then there are the beyond. The last one is a little bit obscure because it does kind of cover both spirits, so ghosts and the like, as well as you also have things like demons, aliens, and other stuff like that who exist outside of space-time. So think, what's her name? You have Foreigner. I think it's Foreigner, and Miss Nala, for example. They are both classifications of Beyonders. So Mr. Foreigner is the alien saucer, quite literally the alien saucer, and then Miss Nala is technically a succubus, a demon, something that is outside of regular human understanding. So Miss Recoleta right now, she's kind of blurring the lines between being both an awakened, because she was tied to that novel, her actual book, but also being a Beyonder in that she's more like a spirit or a ghost. So that is something very interesting to note there. But enough of me reviewing this game's lore. Let's go on to praise and folly. The tiny boat adrift upon a sea of ideals, convinced it has hoisted its sails.
I was just setting up my exhibit when everything started shaking. Then I realized it wasn't just my imagination. So I followed the cracks in the wall and found my way here. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but something's happening to the Panopticon, isn't it? Are you the physician? What is it? Aleph. Whoever you are, please, please restore the Panopticon to the way it was. I'm begging you. You can do that, right? Why? Why aren't you doing anything, damn it? Why is this happening? Oh, the die. If you won't help me, then I'll do it myself.
Calm down, Garcia.
Okay, so unexpected interference by Garcia here.
Let the overture begin.
This shouldn't be too difficult. I guess it makes sense. He's someone who's been rejected by society and found a sort of peace here in the Panopticon. So the fact that he is now being faced with his one sanctuary being taken away, it makes sense that he would be speaking out about this.
Please enjoy. My next performance, bubbles bursting. Rise and shine.
Okay, if you're worrying here, I know the tricks to this fight already. It's actually really simple. Just let him charge up, and then hit him with all you got.
Saxophone's end. What I'm good at. Just another shift.
Some of these attacks don't.
Listen to the melody of wind and waves.
There you go. The follow-ups would have done. Would have finished up the work.
That wasn't even as tough as waking up an old factory man.
Timekeeper, he's...
Why? Why is this happening to me? I was so close. So close to completing the exhibition.
Can't you see, Garcia? There is no one controlling this place now. You're free. It isn't the die that's trapped you, nor is it the walls of this prison. It's the rules and that overpowering gaze from the central tower. But now that's all gone. You can go outside. You can set up your exhibit anywhere you want. No need to stay stuck in this.
No, Señorita Recoleta. You've seen the world out there. You know as well as I that there's nowhere else I can go but here. This is the only place in the world where I can hold my exhibit. And you've ruined it. You've ruined everything.
This room's about to collapse. We've got to leave. Mr. Garcia, do you need a hand?
I can take care of myself, thank you. I'll go a different way. I have to go back and finish setting up my exhibit.
Burton, what about Aleph? We can't just leave him here.
Of course not. We still have questions he needs to answer. Sinetto, help me get him up. Let's get out of here.
Yes, Timekeeper.
Your words are always at odds with your thoughts. You carry an ocean of questions, yet never reveal even a single drop of them. Why have you never shared your doubts? Why do you stay silent in the face of everything and everyone around you?
I believe in my duty.
As for you, paracausality researcher, you're different from any other seeker of answers. Even on a desperate, near-hopeless journey, your heart holds little doubt.
Perhaps not every question needs an answer, Mr. Aleph.
Is that so?
So an interesting take for Aleph. I don't think one he ever really considered that, as Verdant said, not every question needs an answer. So, let's see.
Look. It's sinking. Corpses float on the planks, and the fleeing prisoners are swimming toward the shore. Time to abandon ship. One that was exiled to a desolate corner of the ocean by the resplendent civilized world. It's both a prison and a sanitarium. Are any of your friends aboard? If so, you might find the following report a little offensive. Dregs of society. Human scum. These are the terms used to describe its eccentric passengers. To be fair, they do lack discipline and independence. But that may well be a response to the heavy pain they've endured. Some theorists suggest that they're innocent victims, trapped in the confines between rationality and irrationality, defined and redefined by historians as they please. But let's ditch the theories and simplify things. The moment the shackle called madness was fastened around their necks, whether they were truly mentally ill or not, their lives were forever scarred. And now, the mad passengers are storming the shore. I suppose it is. You can see the joy in their faces, even in the footprints they leave behind as they hop across the beach. Yes, freedom is favorable indeed. The freedom to squander our lives, to trample on the dignity of others, the freedom to embrace absurdity and meaninglessness. Let's dig deeper. Scavenge through the messy battlefield for dog tags. Were these people born mad? After watching the inhabitants of this earth tear each other apart in one war after another, I've concluded this. Only knowledge drives people to madness. Ignorance does not. Madness is a side effect of the sedative that is knowledge. As long as those on land continue to consume it, this ship will never be short on recruits. This is a war between madness and civilization. Both sides have leveled accusations, spilled blood, and pummeled each other. And soon, everyone will have leapt into the trenches and been beaten to a bloody pulp. Only a few can escape this fate. Check your 6. The one leaning against the sunken ship, showing no signs of struggle or sorrow. Garcia. The seawater has flooded his windpipe and reddened his eyes. Yet there he is, staring blankly at the shore. He's in his home base. He holds no hope for forgiveness from his enemies. Not in the slightest. He's a one-man army, fighting only for himself, alone. Now, do a 360 and look again. He's been utterly defeated.
Honestly, I'm always curious about these voices and like who they are meant to represent, because I feel they always come with a lot of insight and information that you want to. I don't know how impactful they are, sorry, but you want to review these honestly. I do argue a little bit that yes, so I can understand where he's coming from. That having knowledge can something be worse than not having it, but I also feel that after a point there is such a thing as being too ignorant. Just look at today's society. There are a lot of people who, because they don't have the right information or just are ignorant of basic things, they hurt themselves, they've hurt others, and are trying to push their ideals onto others people without really understanding what it is they're fighting for or what they're trying to do. And it isn't until that the consequences come knocking that they realize that they didn't know what was right from wrong, unfortunately. And many of these people will argue that because they didn't know, that they should be held accountable for their mistakes. And that can sometimes be worse than having the knowledge of, like, I know what's right and wrong. I know what I should or should not do in this situation. But let's continue onwards. There's just a lot to digest, and I feel we'll get even more here with the last two parts here. Aspect of madness. Dreams are the first and last dance, partnered for madness.
Dear Erd, why are you so interested in the panopticon of Kamala? Dear Mr. Aleph, whether as a doctor or a writer, I simply cannot turn a blind eye to the friction around me.
Especially the discord and injustice I've witnessed here in Kamala. So, I would ask of you a question. Is there any way to resolve the endless conflicts in this place?
To put an end to this, a true ending is required. Your arrival has made it possible for this simulation to have an ending, or rather, a victory.
What do you mean by victory? I'd appreciate it if you could clarify in simple terms. If this victory comes at the cost of any inmate's life, I'm afraid I cannot accept it. I also have another question for you. If I leave, will the stories and conflicts here come to an end?
Miss Grace of Manus Vindicte will grant you passage. But in any case, the cycle of history will continue to repeat itself in this prison, and in the entire world. The sins of humankind will not cease until veins turn to wires, flesh and bone to geometric shapes, and the world around us twists in the colors of an oil painting.
I must say, your words have left me rather baffled. Fragments of the events you describe often appear in my dreams. Could it be that these things really happened? If that's the case, why can't I recall the details? Why am I left with only disconnected pieces? The madness in Kamala, these bizarre dreams. I must put an end to them. What have I forgotten? Has someone or something altered my memory? I can't shake the feeling that something crucial to me has been lost in the river of time. Some kind of duty, perhaps. What should I do? How can I recapture what I have lost?
I won't answer a question that already has an answer, one given to you by the person who escorted you here and made you a promise. You're so close to the place where the truth lies. Think carefully. Why are you here?
These letters we found have answered a great deal. But there's still something that isn't clear. Mr. Aleph, what exactly did the Manus promise Dr. Dorez?
An era. A chance for her to remember her duty.
An era? You helped her leave the Panopticon in the end. Where did she go?
Southward. There, on the No Man's continent, Manus Vindictae is preparing to recreate the parable of the past and future. A glorious past and a glimmering future belonging to Arcanus. Dr. Dorez is deeply connected to this particular parable.
What exactly are the Manus planning to do in Antarctica? And why would Dr. Dorez go there voluntarily?
Mr. Aleph, when did Dr. Dorez depart?
It was a day when both the clouds and sun were visible.
A day when both the clouds and sun were visible. Could you be more specific?
Pacific? You mean the time of day?
When both clouds and the sun were visible.
Hey, Vertin, I think I know. It was 3 days ago. Then Dr. Dorez wasn't going to Comala on the day I met her. She was leaving. She was headed to Antarctica.
It was cloudy that afternoon, with a brief spell of sunshine, just like Aleph described.
Then it hasn't been long since she left. Excellent news.
3 days. If we set off immediately, we might still catch up to her. But, based on the intel we gathered in Ushuaia, Manus Vindictae bombed the entire port 3 days ago. Clearly, they wanted to prevent any interference from the Foundation. It's unlikely we'll find any functioning ships there. I'll report the situation to the Buenos Aires branch. Timekeeper, I'm afraid we'll have to find another way to get there.
I have a boat.
Could you lend it to us? The situation's urgent, Mr. Aleph.
This boat will automatically take you to McMurdo Port, the landing point Manus Vindictae established by the shores of the Ross Sea.
This looks like Manus technology. Its arcane energy source is highly unstable. Timekeeper, I suggest we wait for support in Ushuaia.
I don't usually agree with Soneto, but I have to admit, I don't have much confidence that a boat this small can actually make it to Antarctica.
Mr. Aleph, do you know anything about Manus Vindictae's ritual? How far has it progressed?
The ritual could begin at any moment. I believe that's why they left Kamala. Upon departure, one of their members, a woman named Grace, told me they would seal off the sea.
Are we too late?
If you wish to find Doris, you must follow the same path she took.
I see. Mr. Aleph, members of the Foundation branch will arrive soon to evaluate your condition. I hope you'll answer their questions with the same patience you showed us. Thank you. Sonato, let's go.
Yes, Timekeeper.
Thank you for your assistance too, Recoleta. Perhaps you'll consider joining the...
What was that? It came from the Panopticon.
So we're almost there. Okay, this actually explains some things I was wondering about. Because typically, between stories, there's about... between main chapters, about 2 events happening. But this is 2.6, right? This, I believe this update should be 2.6 if I'm not mistaken. Our next story update, from what I know, is supposed to be in 2.8, so it's only going to be 1 event update. So for us here in the West, we are more or less going to be caught up or right behind where the Chinese server is. So I'm genuinely curious to see how that'll affect things, for one. But also, number 2, this actually explains why there's such little buffer between stories. So, for one, this actually means there's a time limit on how long the Foundation, and by extension, Team Timekeeper can wait on pursuing the Manus. Number 2, this actually puts pressure on players to save up if they're free to play like I am right now, versus pay to play. So I'm paying off my new PC. I'm still waiting for that to arrive as of me recording this. There's been some delays, unfortunately, but hey, what can you do? Some of the parts are hard to get right now. But anyway, we'll wait and see. This should be the last part, I believe, for this chapter, so let's see where it goes, and then I'll give my final thoughts, and we'll call it there. Let's see. In the place of my ashes. As day breaks, the story ends where the ashes rest. In the end, the night is not eternal.
With Aleph's control gone, Komala is collapsing. The inmates aren't even real criminals, are they? And they're still in there with no clue that they're no longer being watched from the central tower. We have to go tell them. We have to get them to safety.
Yes, we should help them get out, at least until support arrives. But the Manus ritual...
Don't worry. I'll go alone.
Huh?
You should hurry. When this is all over, I'll write to you, my dear friend. During this journey together, our teamwork has been impeccable. So, you can trust me to do this. I'm not doing it just to help you or the organization you represent. I'm doing it because the inmates are my friends.
Okay. I trust you. Take care of yourself, Recoleta.
But if the storm truly is imminent, as Dr. Merlin said, then, Miss Recoleta, you'll...
don't quite understand what this storm is all about. But don't worry. A brand new adventure is the best thing that can happen to a writer. And I doubt it'll surpass the epic adventures we've shared over the past couple of days. I'm going to write everything, including the two of you, into my new novel.
Then I'd like to be the first to read this new novel, if that's all right.
Of course. Listen, I believe literature is like an endless, timeless river. So we'll meet again someday, somewhere. Probably in someone else's story. Who knows? Adiós, mis queridos amigos.
Dr. Merlin. You're Dr. Merlin, right? I finally found you. What on earth happened in the central tower? Right after I left, the whole panopticon started collapsing. The tower's in ruin. I've been looking for you everywhere. Please, sir, come with me. It isn't safe.
That won't be necessary. The snow is still falling, yet everything in the labyrinth has already gone up in flames. Fortune, fate, karma, they're nothing but a ridiculous joke. It's over, Jaguar. You have lost your memories, your identity, your name, and now your title. You are no longer a jailer trapped in the panopticon.
I don't get it, Dr. Merlin. What are you talking about? I'm going back to Komala. Order must be maintained. The prisoners mustn't be allowed to escape. Please take care, Dr. Merlin. Hey, you! Don't run off like that. It's dangerous. Dream on death's straw pillow.
Stop! Get off me! Let me go! Are you blind? The panopticon is falling apart!
It's you, Roberta.
They are all mad! I knew it! They've been insane from the start! The whole place is burning to the ground and they still won't leave! They're still talking and talking about things that no one cares about! I can't help them! I never understood what they were talking about! The rhythms, the factions, the ideologies... Yes, the people were nice. The idealists too, but I've had enough of this prison. I've had enough of the panopticon. I never should have joined these movements. It was all meaningless from the beginning. I want to leave this place. Go to Spain or France. Anywhere but here. I want to go back to Magdalena.
Por la felicidad yo te canto y por la libertad yo te canto. Nada podrá parar ni vencer mi ser.
But how does literature make you feel?
As though I'm a kid looking through a kaleidoscope for the first time. Well, maybe that's not the best way to put it. Perhaps something a little more subtle.
A ship sailing to an unfamiliar land. A parable of the past and future. An era that once existed and is yet to come. Is this the answer you've provided, Mr. Aleph?
No, Erd. You will have to find this answer yourself. No one can help you with this. No one.
I see. Thank you, Mr. Aleph. I will remember what you've told me.
Why are you here? The Admiral sent me to deliver the latest updates. Ha! I thought Igor had misunderstood something. Just because we're both here does not mean the Apostle Brotherhood and Xenos are obliged to work together. Mr. Santos, you know the preacher said it before, each and every one of us is their subject. Why don't you just tell me what Igor really sent you here for? Xenos intelligence officers intercepted a message from the Foundation Buenos Aires branch. How typical of Xenos to do something like that. Missy states that a fleet for the Foundation, including a battleship and a destroyer, had departed from the north and is heading south. So you're telling me those gray and white checkers are actually sending a fleet? General wants you to speed up the transport of personnel and supplies, and to weaken manpower to the Foundation Buenos Aires branch as much as possible. Let me make this perfectly clear. I do not answer to him. But for the preacher and for them, I will fulfill my duty. Tell the Admiral he does not need to worry about anything else. We'll prepare a proper welcome for a Foundation feeble little fleet. Understood. Okay, so we have some really good setup for the next main chapter. And so my closing thoughts is, I'm guessing Garcia more or less, now between the die being removed and Garcia, I'm assuming that they've more or less set up the destruction of the Panopticon. And now the prisoners, those who are not completely lost, are fleeing for their own safety, while those who are too far to be saved are more or less ready to sacrifice themselves for this one final act of madness. This, I'm gonna say, harkens back to a few chapters back. Back on the Isle of the Philosophers, the mathematicians, I forget what they're called. I think it's Paracelsus? The island Paracelsus? No, that's not right. Anyway, back to that island. They called it the last act of passion, where they've let themselves be swept away by the storm. In this case, they're letting themselves be burned away with the remnants of the Panopticon. The only life they really knew was somewhat Sableton. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. So it does feel like this chapter was, while it was a bit of a meant to be a bit, the whole literature part was meant to be a little bit of a distraction, it does set us up for what's supposed to come next in the next big main chapter. So that should be 2.8. And I won't lie, I'm genuinely excited to see what there's leads to and what Man is planning to do next to Arctica. Because we know for a while now they've been making preparations, collecting supplies, materials. They destroyed entire civilization of Arcanus basically to corrupt their shells. The Nua 2 people, I believe it's called, and collect their spirit shells. Because they wanted to use those spirit shells to collect the offlow of whatever the ritual is they're planning. Ultimately, I am genuinely curious to see what comes next, if there is some other grand plan. But I think, well, I know what they're going to try and do, but I won't spoil it here. Well, as you know, I know what they're going to do. I unfortunately got spoiled by one of their latest advertisements. They revealed their hand a little too much. But I can't wait to see it regardless. And like I said, after I roll for Aleph here, I do plan to save up as much as I can for 2.8 and hopefully get another big character there. I know they are giving you a free 6-star character, your choice of 1 free 6-star character, so hopefully I can get the 2 big ones I want. But until then, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of new videos when they come out, and share the content people might enjoy it, or just need a bit of background noise in their life. For this episode, comment down below, how excited are you for the big finale to this patch, or this, series? I'm genuinely on the edge of my seat right now to hear where this story goes and what they plan to do next. But until then, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe. Oh, I'm doing it again. I'm sorry. I'm repeating myself. Gotta solve that. But until then, everybody, remember to be kind. Try racing tomorrow, and I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, this has been Starborn Feline. Sign off for now, saying goodbye.